WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Scott Martin. More on that story in just a moment, but first we're following some breaking news out of Lowndes County. Law enforcement are actively searching for a man they say has escaped the Lowndes County Adult Detention Center. This man right here, Delvin Moore, is who police say they're looking for. Deputies say Moore escaped around 9 o'clock this evening. Now, you may remember Moore. He was arrested Friday by Columbus police after an armed robbery at the Sprint Mart on Highway 69. There's no word yet on how he escaped. Deputies say he was wearing a maroon shirt, white pants, and black shoes. And a 12-year-old is recovering from a gunshot wound to the neck, and an 11-year-old is now in police custody. Around 5 yesterday evening, Tupelo police were called to the Oak Creek apartments. Police say once they arrived, they found a 12-year-old bleeding from the neck from a gunshot wound. Well, noon this afternoon, police say that an 11-year-old was taken into custody and is facing aggravated assault charges. Very few details are being released at this time as the investigation is ongoing. The 12-year-old victim, we're told, is in critical condition. Police say the two men involved in last night's shooting at a Columbus gas station are related. It happened just before 8:30 last night at the Kings Court Chevron at 14th and Main. When police arrived, they found a man holding a handgun and another man who had been shot in the lower back. He was taken to Baptist Memorial Hospital to be treated. The suspect was taken into custody without incident and sits in the Lowndes County Adult Detention Center waiting for official charges. Also in Columbus, an investigation is underway after a reported armed robbery at the Quality Inn on Highway 45 North. Police say the call came in just before 9 o'clock last night. Well, no, there's no word if there were any injuries or if anything was taken. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers. Turning to weather now, time to get a first look at our holiday weekend forecast with meteorologist Amanda Reynolds. Amanda, it's just really nice out there right now.
Yes, it's been a beautiful afternoon and it's continuing to be a beautiful evening. Right now here in Columbus, 68 degrees. Notice that humidity beginning to creep up. We will see more of that humidity tomorrow, but overnight tonight we'll see another nice evening. It'll be calm and cool as temperatures drop down into the 60s. Tomorrow again it'll be a little more humid but sunny and perfect weather for this holiday weekend. Temperatures will climb into the upper 80s. But there is a little bit of a change in the forecast. So after this weekend, we'll see some rain move in by the time we get to the middle of the week and cooler temperatures for the end of the week. But I'll tell you when and what you could expect coming up.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Leaders in Booneville and Prentiss County are working to find a long-term solution to a common problem for many cities, overcrowding in correctional facilities. WCBI's Allie Martin has more.
Back in May, Prentiss County Sheriff Randy Toller was told he would lose all state inmates at the jail unless overcrowding was addressed and corrected. The facility's capacity was 70, and at one point more than 130 inmates were being held.
The only way we could regain our approval for housing state inmates would be to maintain a population of 70 or under.
That was accomplished and meant some inmates were taken to Tishomingo County. Also, a 48-hour cap was put on people in the jail's 8-bed holding area. There is a lot at stake because state inmates provide a lot of work for the county, such as cooking for the jail, performing custodial work at the courthouse and other buildings, and they also pick up trash on public roads. Since the federal mandate, Sheriff Toller has also limited the number of beds for inmates brought in by the Booneville Police Department. 10 beds are set aside for city prisoners.
We're actually still arresting people for misdemeanor crimes. It is probably easier for a person to get out.
Right now there are 60 inmates in the Prentiss County Jail, and although capacity is 70, with all the rules and regulations, that does not mean there are 10 free beds.
Today, we've only got 4 women, but you can't count that as 4. You've got to count it as 10.
City and county leaders are working together to find a solution to a problem that will only get worse.
It is a lot to take on, running a jail. It is a lot of responsibility. It's a costly venture. However, we are required by law to provide a jail, and that's what we intend on doing.
We will come to a compromise eventually. We've got to. There's got to be there is a solution out there for this problem. And I understand this is a problem that other municipalities across the state are facing. So there has got to be a solution somewhere.
Possible options include expanding and renovating the current facility, or Booneville and other cities and towns could join forces and build a municipal detention facility. In Prentiss County, I'm Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The mayor and chancery clerk meet regularly and hope to have proposals soon for the Board of Aldermen and Supervisors. The Boys and Girls Club of the Golden Triangle are getting a big boost in its expansion efforts. Early this morning, the MULLEN Family Foundation donated $25,000 to the nonprofit organization. The donation will help the Boys and Girls Club expand into West Point. Currently, the Boys and Girls Club of the Golden Triangle, they operate out of 2 clubs, one in Columbus and one in Starkville. Megan Mullen says the donation was easy to make.
The wildest thing about this relationship we have is I spent a week in West Point, Mississippi covering a golf tournament at Old Waverly 2 years before Dan and I ever moved here. And I fell in love with this community, the people, and I can tell you with certainty we wouldn't have been at Mississippi State for the last 9 years if I hadn't had that experience before. And so when I was talking to Nadia about the needs in the Golden Triangle for Boys and Girls Club, she's like, we need one in West Point. And I said, you don't have one in West Point already? And she said, no, we don't. And I said, we are doing it today. We are doing it this week. Let's go. And that's why we are here today, and that's why this is so important.
The Mullen Family Foundation's $25,000 donation is one of the largest single donations that the Boys and Girls Club of the Golden Triangle has ever received. Speaking out, dramatic video shows a nurse being arrested for following hospital protocol. What the nurse is saying about those tense moments. Plus, perfect weather for a festival, a look at the Prairie Arts Festival in West Point. And Amanda will have our full Labor Day weekend forecast when we come back.
Over the last month, we saw temperatures climb up to 97 degrees up in Tupelo around the middle of the month. And just about a week ago, we saw our minimum low that was 61 degrees. And it may have felt warm at times. We actually came out about 2.5 degrees below average as a whole up in Tupelo. So it wasn't too bad of an August. Looking at our Alpha Insurance time lapse over Tupelo, you can see the sun beginning to set, but we saw plenty of that color over this evening, but it's shaped up to be a pretty nice day and evening. Right now in Tupelo, we're seeing temperatures right around 70 degrees, and that's where most of us are sitting this evening, right around that upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. A few areas down to the south already a bit cooler, but all of us will drop down into the low 60s overnight tonight. Most of us right around that 61 degrees, so it will continue to be a very nice evening and very calm and cool, so not looking too bad for the next several days. But tonight or tomorrow we'll see temperatures start out in the upper 60s and we'll climb into the upper 80s by the time we get to the afternoon. But again, we'll see plenty of sunshine not only tomorrow but into Monday as well, so it'll be a relatively nice rest of your holiday weekend. However, there are some changes in the forecast. Cold front's going to be moving through the area Tuesday into Wednesday. That will bring some rain, and behind that, much cooler temperatures as we go into the later part of the week. So the Climate Prediction Center putting a wide area of cooler than normal conditions for our area over the next 8 to 10 days, but high pressure over our area for the next few days, and that'll keep us relatively sunny and calm. But again, that cold front pushing down to the southeast, and that will boost up our rain chances as we get closer to the middle of the week. So looking forward to the 7-day forecast, they'll see plenty of sunshine for tomorrow as well as Monday before more of those showers move in, and then much cooler temperatures as we get into the end of the week.
The 39th annual Prairie Arts Festival has come and gone without a hitch. Organizers say that the festival has come a long way since its big debut back in 1978. The annual Labor Day weekend festival has more than 300 vendors and around 20,000 attendees. In addition to art, crafts, and food vendors, Festival-going families can stop in at several areas that is designated for their children. Mississippi House District seat candidate says that an event like this is a perfect place to reach out to constituents.
If you don't listen to the people, you never know what the real needs are. If you get in that office and think you know everything, that may be a problem, but here you hear the real voices of real people.
The Southeast Tourism Society recognizes the Prairie Arts Festival as a top 20 event. Well, caught on camera, a Utah nurse's arrest goes viral. All stems after this vehicle crash. More about the whole ordeal next.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
The video's gone viral. A hospital nurse in Utah arrested for not giving blood work to police following a crash. Officials say, though, she was following hospital protocol. Here's a look at some of that dramatic video.
July 26th, a fiery crash caused by a car fleeing police and traveling in the wrong direction sends the driver of this semi-truck to University Hospital's burn unit. The semi-truck driver is unconscious and not suspected of doing anything wrong. Even so, Salt Lake City police show up asking for his blood.
I'm just a nurse trying to protect the patient.
Charge nurse Alex Wubbles says the request for blood isn't allowed under the policy the hospital established with law enforcement.
So I'm going to arrest her.
While she's calling management, the officer becomes impatient.
She's going to jail.
She even prints out a copy of the hospital's protocol.
Three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest.
None of those conditions had been met.
I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do. That's all.
After that explanation, and while she's still on the phone with a supervisor,
No, we're done. We're done. You're under arrest. We're going. We're done.
the officer makes the arrest for obstructing justice.
This is my department, and this is completely unnecessary. Please, sir, you're hurting. Then walk.
20 minutes later, she's released and has never been charged.
I just feel betrayed. I feel angry. I feel a lot of things, and I still am confused.
Wubbles reminds that blood is the patient's property.
I'm a healthcare worker. just the only job I have as a nurse is to keep my patients safe.
Police say the officer is still on duty, but that Internal Affairs is investigating.
It was alarming. Immediately after seeing the video, they started an Internal Affairs investigation to look into what happened.
Well, Salt Lake City's mayor and police chief are apologizing for the violent arrest. The chief says Payne has been put on modified duty. Well, the preseason is over. College football is back. We check in with Mississippi State next in sports.
Talk and predictions are in the past. Mississippi State looking to redeem itself in week 1 after last year's debacle. And boy, did the Bulldogs come out swinging. Mississippi State opening up the season facing Charleston Southern. No swimming in this one. But Mississippi State laid a licking on the Buccaneers in this one. But it'd be the offense who'd strike first. Nick FITZGERALD to Farrod Green. And the big fella's going to rumble for 70 yards before being taken down inside the 5. That would set up Nicky Fitz nicely. He's got a nice read option there. He's going to scoot in for 6. FITZGERALD's score makes it 7-0 Mississippi State. And then to that defense, Noxubee County's Jeffrey Simmons. A human steamroller in this one. That's his first career collegiate sack. Bulldogs offense takes over and takes advantage. FITZGERALD finds Starkville's Gabe Miles. 8-yard touchdown, 14-0 Mississippi State. Our local guys showed out in this one, but more defense in the first. Fletcher Adams absolutely decleats a man. Ball rolls into the end zone. Charleston Southern scoops it up, but it'd be a safety. 16-0 Bulldogs lead. And here we go. Debut for Columbus's Kylan Hill. His first collegiate carry goes for 19 yards and a first down. Kylan would run like a madman on that first possession of his, and he'd set up West Point's Aries Williams for the touchdown. 23-0 Mississippi State after 1, and more local guys showing out. Willie Gay getting some action, a tackle for loss in his debut. Todd Grantham's defense feasting in the backfield. Another safety, the first time since 2000 Mississippi State put up 2 safeties in a game, and Mississippi State just tacking on this one. FITZGERALD finds Dedrick Thomas. Boy, Mississippi State lays a whooping in week 1, 49-0. They pitch a shutout in week 1. They held the Buccaneers to 33 total yards of offense. Head coach Dan Mullen, what do you think about the defense after the game?
That's the type of defense I expect. You know, I mean, I know Todd did a fantastic job with the scheme. Coaches putting guys in the right position to go make plays and everything that they did. I'm most pleased about watching how our guys ran with the football. You know, I mean, 11 guys playing as hard as they can every single snap. That was a big challenge to, you know, through my eyes defensively. That everybody, and I mean, I'm talking about with a minute left in the game, guys are 11 guys flying to the football as hard as they can, and that's the type of defense we expect to see.
Shutout, 2 safeties, you know. Creating turnovers, that's something we talk about all week. Fast, physical, and aggressive. Get to the ball. We want 11 guys, whoever on the field, just flying to the ball.
Start the season off with a win. I mean, it's always great, you know, compared to last season. That was a big deflator, big letdown. This season, you know, we get a big defensive game, you know, had like 10 yards on offense for the other team. I mean, it's huge. It's a big confidence builder, big thing to work on. You know, go in the film room, see what we need to fix, and just be better next week.
We got to take every game, you know what I'm saying, every game serious, because last year we didn't do that. So, I mean, we got to do it step by step, and that's what we're going to keep on doing.
Matt Luke running the Rebels out of the tunnel for the first time. Rebels taking on South Alabama early on. Shea Patterson can throw it to anyone, to Van Jefferson this time. Nice catch for a first down. That would lead to Shea Patterson. He's going to find DeMarcus Lodge, one of his 2 touchdowns in this one. Rebels strike first. They're up 7-0. Here comes that Landshark defense. South Alabama, Cole Garvin. He's going to get eaten up in the back here by A.J. Moore for the sack. Big stop for Ole Miss defense. So they would lead 13-10 at halftime. And after the break, A.J. Brown absolutely takes over. Look at Shea Patterson avoiding everyone in the stadium. He even loses the camera, but he finds A.J. Brown, who's going to take it 77 yards to the house. He'd have back-to-back 70-yard touchdowns to start the third quarter. A.J. would finish with 8 catches, an Ole Miss record 233 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns as Ole Miss goes on to explode in the second half, dominating South Alabama 47-27. Matt Luke starts his career 1-0. We'll hear from the Rebels coming up tonight on our website, WCBI.com, as well as tomorrow on WCBI Sports. And we'll take a look in on the game of the century as week number 1, and this should say 24-7. Alabama leads now. A much closer game than the score is giving. This is an absolute slugfest, folks. If you love defensive football, this is the game for you. But Alabama doing what they do every year, laying a whooping on people. So 24-7 is your score right now. There's about 5 minutes left in that game. We'll be talking more Cruel Tide against FSU coming up tomorrow as well on WCBI Sports. Could Southern Miss start its season with a W over an SEC squad? Highlights from Hattiesburg next in sports. Could they win in much less stressful fashion? To Hattiesburg we go. Southern Miss, that test against the Kentucky Wildcats, but it'd be the Wildcats that jumped out first. Steven Johnson, he's going to hit C.J. Conrad. The tight end's going to rumble, get pushed out of bounds just inside the 5. So Kentucky knocking on the door here, but it'd be Southern Miss that comes up with the play. Forced fumble, Tavares Moore falls on it. Golden Eagles save the 6. But Kentucky would knock on the door yet again. Here Steven Johnson takes it himself. Wildcats on the board first, 7-0. They wouldn't be done just yet. They'd be in control in the first half. Johnson, he's going to find Conrad again. Deja vu, but he wouldn't be denied. Conrad gets in for 6. Southern Miss would rally midway through the 3rd and into the 4th. It'd make it closer, but Kentucky escapes with a 24-17 win in week 1. Let's take a look at some other scores around the SEC in college football today. Michigan beats Florida 33-17. Florida would get 2 pick sixes, and that'd be about it. Michigan locks down UF, of course, with 10 guys suspended in this one for the Gators. So Michigan gets the W in week 1. Now, Auburn defeats Georgia Southern 41-7. It is a recipe for success for Auburn in this one. Jared Stidham looking impressive, playing more ball control, 185 yards on 14-24 and a TD. And then last but not least, on the 1-year anniversary of Appalachian State beating Michigan in the Big House, Georgia wasn't going to let that happen. Nick Chubb, 96 yards and 2 TDs. Big news for Georgia, sophomore quarterback Jacob Eason left the game early with a knee injury. It's being considered not very serious and a knee sprain. Mississippi State will be taking on those Georgia Bulldogs here in a couple of weeks, so big news out of Georgia as well. That does it for sports with a last secure forecast coming up next.
I think it was nearly 58 feet tall or 54 feet. I can't remember quite. I think it was 54, and it beat the original one at 48. Pretty cool. It will be on display in Germany there until September 24th. So
very cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Giant sandcastle.
Pretty cool, just like this weather we're seeing right now.
Or I think we'll see some nice sunny conditions for the rest of your holiday weekend. But we'll see rain coming in for Tuesday, but beautiful conditions as we head into the later part of the week. We'll see some 70s again.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.